It's the start of a new parliamentary year, marked by the ceremonial opening earlier today. This is also a precursor to the upcoming 2026-2027 financial year, and budgetary allocations to the different ministries were outlined in the estimates of expenditure tabled today. Keep watching Jamaica Magazine over the next few days for a breakdown of these distributions. But on the show today, we explain a few budget terms and share more Reggae Month highlights. I'm Audrey Williams, and we start things off with the news.
Are you living on or in possession of family land? Do you want to sell or subdivide the property? Use eLand Jamaica to search for details on the property. You can complete a title search and verify the owner before you sell the property. If your name does not appear on the title, register the land or clarify the existing title in your name before you sell. A title is a notice to the world of your ownership of land. For more information, contact the National Land Agency at 876-750-5263 or 876-946-5263. The National Land Agency, one goal to serve you better.
Good day, I'm Twyla Whelan and this is your JS News for Thursday, February 12, 2026. Government will be implementing new revenue measures to help finance the 2026-2027 budget and close the fiscal gap created by the economic loss dealt to the country by Hurricane Melissa. Minister of Finance and the Public Service Favour Williams confirmed the need for new revenue measures for the first time in 8 budget cycles in a press release yesterday. She explains that this is due to the estimated $8.8 billion in damage caused by the hurricane, which also led to reduced revenues for the country as economic activity slowed in certain sectors. In addition to the extraordinary demands that the hurricane has imposed on the country, the finance minister points out that the administration must also continue to attend to the normal business of government. As a result, she says measured steps must now be taken to close the fiscal gap while safeguarding Jamaica's stability, preserving the hard-won fiscal gains, and financing the recovery in a way that is sustainable and just.
We have lived through the debt trap before. Decades of high debt, high interest payments, and limited fiscal space. Over the last several years, through discipline and shared sacrifice, we have reduced our debt and restored credibility.
Minister Williams cautions that borrowing will play a role, but insists that it must be strategic, directed toward capital investments that build resilience and expand our productive capacity in areas such as infrastructure, agriculture, logistics, and digital systems.
In other words, borrowing to build assets that grow GDP and strengthen our ability to repay. As far as possible, recurrent expenses must be financed by recurring taxation revenues. Let me also assure you that equity is central to our approach. We are reviewing anomalies in the tax system and ensuring that the burden is shared fairly. The most vulnerable will be protected.
The minister's statement was released ahead of this morning's ceremonial opening of Parliament and the tabling of the estimates of expenditure for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. The Ministry of Agriculture will be rolling out a $100 million recovery program to support banana and plantain farmers following widespread devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa. The initiative is to be implemented by the Banana Board and the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA. It is expected to assist approximately 5,000 farmers and rehabilitate more than 2,500 hectares of damaged farmland. During a recent press briefing, Minister Floyd Green disclosed that the farmers would receive fertilizer support based on verified damage assessments.
So we're going to provide them with some fertilizer based on verified damage assessments and farm size to ensure equity and effectiveness. We did this after Hurricane Beryl and we saw good returns on the investment.
The minister explains that banana and plantain crops typically require 6 to 8 months to recover, but the program aims to accelerate production timelines. He also highlights that some farmers enrolled in the Banana Board's Catastrophe Fund have already received payouts to assist with their recovery.
Their payouts were largely in the form of supporting their nutritional regime to build back their farms. And a lot of them were out very early after Hurricane Melissa, trying to stand back up, trying to cut, trying to make sure that they can get production as quickly as possible.
Fishers in St. Elizabeth are set to benefit from improved storage solutions following the handover of 2 solar-powered energy centers equipped with refrigerated units to preserve their catch. Valued at $30,000, the units were donated by the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP. Installed at Parity and Galleon fishing beaches in the parish, the units include storage facilities designed to preserve catches, reduce post-harvest losses, and improve fishers' income following Hurricane Melissa. Chief Executive Officer of the National Fisheries Authority, Dr. Gavin Bellamy, has welcomed the initiative, which he says will support fishers' livelihoods by strengthening economic viability.
This will help the fishers to be able to fish ad lib and have somewhere to store their products and not lose the quality and be able to stay economically viable and to develop themselves.
Meanwhile, Fisheries Minister Floyd Green announced that the 4-H Foundation would also provide 2 communal boat engines to further support fishers.
It will take all hands on deck to get these fishers back out there. We are going to continue to play our part from the ministry. Already we would have started our fish pot wire distribution and we would have gone well over 2,000 rolls of wire right across the length and breadth of Jamaica.
He further indicates that distribution of boat repair grants will commence next week. The fishers will be able to access grants ranging from $250,000 to $5 million, depending on the level of damage sustained. Government is accelerating urgent works to repair the damaged Mount Carey to Montpelier corridor in southern St. James and complete a $700 million water transmission project that will serve more than 10,000 residents in southern St. James. The project includes the full rehabilitation of 1.4 kilometers of roadway with targeted patching along additional sections, along with the installation of pipeline infrastructure. During a tour of the work on Thursday, Works Minister Robert Morgan said the intervention was expected to ease commuters' concerns over long travel times caused by poor road conditions, as well as the frequent water lockoffs resulting from a single line serving both transmission and distribution needs.
You'll be overlaying from Mount Carey to Montpelier totally, while patching work will take place in other sections. Not only that, but there will be about 400 meters of drains that will be repaired or built on this road in order to ensure that when the road is repaired, that the rain and water, flood water, do not further damage the road. Putting a transmission line from the source to the various catchment areas and then allowing us to distribute more water to the residents will not only improve the quality of life for the general community, but also improve business in the community and also encourage more persons to invest in the community.
The work is a joint intervention by the National Works Agency and the Jamaica Social Investment Fund. The Mandeville Regional Hospital has made a significant breakthrough in public health care, performing its first ever colonoscopy procedure recently. The hospital is now able to offer this procedure to residents of the parish and surrounding areas, following the generous donation of the colonoscopy equipment by Food for the Poor and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Colonoscopy is a procedure using a thin, flexible tube with a light and camera at the end to examine the colon, take biopsies, and perform other minimally invasive medical procedures. Surgical consultant at the hospital, Dr. Andrew Josephs, says the introduction of colonoscopy services at the facility is expected to improve early detection of colorectal cancer, the 3rd most common cancer in Jamaica. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Twyla Whelan. Thanks for watching.
the budget season, and with that come terms and phrases that need some explaining for those who don't quite understand them. So, here's a Budget 101 refresher course.
So we're in the budget season, and during this time, we hear all kinds of big terms, like inflation and net international reserves. But what do they mean? Financial analyst Dennis Chung will be here to break down those terms inside Budget 101. Now let's start with the term budget.
A budget is really just an expectation of what you want to happen. And the reason why I do a budget is because you want to ensure that you are getting the revenues that you expect. So the budget allows you now to create the initiatives around that and also to control the expenses so that you don't spend more than you earn.
Miscellaneous, 5,000. Lunch, 5,000. Wow, my budget looking good for this month. At least I don't owe nobody.
Well, the government does practically the same thing. This is how the process works. The budget process begins with a budget call being sent out to all ministries, departments, and agencies of the government. Included in this call is a specific figure, or what is called a budget ceiling, in which they should operate. Cabinet then decides based on their programs if they should get more money. After that, the budget book is prepared and sent to the printing office. The Governor General then makes his throne speech outlining the government's plan, and usually later in the day, the Finance Minister tables the budget in the lower house. The Standing Finance Committee of Parliament will then meet to query the details or make changes to the budget where necessary. That's followed by the various budget presentations in Parliament. When those have been made, the budget is passed and the ministries, departments, and agencies begin to receive their monthly allocations. And that's how the process works. So now that you understand the process, let's move on to the terms. Take, for example, economy.
The economy is really the accumulation of all the activity that takes place from working. So all the activities that is into production or consumption or anything like that, that has a value, that creates a value.
There's also something called GDP deflator, which measures the changes in the overall prices.
All the production in manufacturing, the output that comes from that, all the tourism services, all the value added created in the economy for that year is your gross domestic product. GDP is your production locally. Your economy is all economic activity that happens. So your GDP is really a subset of your economy.
Then there's this one. So if I hear that inflation is going up by 10%?
Inflation is just the movement of prices from one year to the next. Or you can look at it from even 1 month to the next, because we do measure it monthly. It means that on an average, you're paying 10% more than you did before. Now remember that inflation is just a measurement, an average measurement based on the basket of goods that they measure. Your fiscal deficit is really looking at all your revenues and your recurrent expenditure. So you take your revenues, how much money do I earn from taxes, how much money do I get from grants, and then I look at my recurring expenditure and deduct that from my revenue. We've been running a fiscal surplus for a few years now. If your expenditure is greater than your revenues, then that is when you have a fiscal deficit.
Net international reserves, or NIR, as Dennis Chung puts it, is simply the difference between Jamaica's foreign assets and foreign liabilities.
The net international reserve is really, after you look at all the charges that you have against your reserve and all the assets you have in terms of foreign exchange reserve, how much is left in terms of net. What the NIR measures is really how many weeks of imports we can safely have So I think the standard is about 12 weeks of imports of NIR you want to have. So if you are importing $100 per week, right? You want to know that you have 12 times $100 at least sitting at the BOJ, that if there's an emergency and there's a shutdown of production and there's no value created in the economy for whatever reason at an extreme, at least I have 12 weeks of money there that I can go and buy things from overseas and pay my overseas debts and keep my economy moving. Your macroeconomy is your overall economy. And most times when people talk about economy, they're really talking about the macroeconomy. So how has inflation moved overall? The microeconomy now looks at the economy from the point of view of the individual or the firm. So my economy from a micro point of view might be different from the macroeconomy.
Recurrent expenditures are expenses that always come on the budget, like wages and salaries. Think of it like your utility bills, water, electricity, or cable. And with that, we conclude Budget 101. I'm sure you've all learned something, and I'll give all of you a passing grade. I'm Theodore Henry. Do take care.
Jamaica Post is committed to being your preferred logistics partner. Enjoy the convenience of 3 to 5 days for international shipments at competitive rates and next business day delivery for local packages. Take advantage of our fast, reliable and ever-evolving services: zip mail, click and ship, fast track, EMS, parcel service, registered mail, corporate mail service and private letterbox. Access customer service support and track packages online. Visit our post offices island-wide and premium service centers at select locations. For more information, go to jamaicapost.gov.jm. Conditions apply.
Alicia, I know the new second-gen AirPods Pro that...
Yes, it is.
Oh, you're rich?
No, I just know to budget.
Budgeting? What she mean?
Well, my mom taught me. Like a plan for your saving and expenses, it basically keeps you on track for what you're saving for.
What?
Think of it like farming. You plant the seed today, and in a few months or even years, you reap the rewards.
All right. But oh yeah, budget? And you no work and you not pay bills?
Well, I use my lunch money, and my parents even give me a little pocket money. Budgeting works, because I started saving for my AirPods in January, and I bought it in March. Every mickle, make a muckle.
Girl, you? Uncle that?
Yes, girl. This is how you start. First, you track your income. These are all the money you get. Then, you list your expenses. These are the things you spend the money on, like food, snack, or lunch, or even our taxi and bus fare. Then, you differentiate between your wants and your needs. Needs are the essentials, and the wants are things like games or the latest fashion.
Well, it look like me I spend more money on wants than needs.
Well, you can fix that. First, you find a spending limit, and that is, don't go overboard. Then, you don't pass $1,000 for the week.
Well, me, I go start budget for my birthday trip on the grill.
And me, I go budget for the 15 Pro Max.
You be saving for the rest of your life.
Well, guys, your goals have to be realistic, so don't pass the money that you don't have.
All right, I guess I can settle for the 11.
So budgeting aside, Alicia, what will I listen to?
Jerusalem.
Hey!
So remember, budget for your dreams, plan today, thrive tomorrow.
A Up next is another Reggae Month artist highlight.
For the love of reggae music and music overall,
your love struck me down lightning, thunder in my soul, baby. My heart beats for you only. Every word is true. I'm in love with you.
Mortimer seems an unusual name, but it is indeed his given name. Like reggae, the alluring singer was bred in the city of Kingston. Mortimer admits to being what he calls an indoor child who wasn't allowed to see much of the city, an act he quickly remedied once he got older. What he experienced helped to shape the musician he is today.
I listened to a lot of music outside of what was allowed in my household too. A lot of soul music, a lot of reggae music, a lot of pop as well. And yeah, like all of them, I think, influenced the sound of my music in one way, shape or the other. Plus the things that I have, just my environment overall and my observation, my perspective, all of these things have shaped my music now and the music that I sing now.
Listening to the melodic words of the love-struck artist makes you wonder about his pen-to-paper process.
My process involves a lot of sinking within myself, a lot of letting go of a lot of things within myself too, to give myself the space to kind of be honest, the most honest I can be when I'm writing. It's a very immersive process for me, I hate to be bothered in those times.
Oh, brother man, you can stop for a breath, but don't you quit.
From an artistic family, his career could have gone no other way.
My mother used to sing, and my father writes as well. And I grew up in an artistic household overall. My father is a painter, and I too, I dabble in art as well.
Still, his path took his parents by surprise.
For the love of reggae music, I have put myself in a position to be forsaken by family.
The church boy who wanted to be a reggae artist. So, how was that conversation?
I wish it was a conversation, but it wasn't, unfortunately. There was no conversation more than I would need to leave if this is the kind of lifestyle that I'm gonna pick up. Music was the choice of a child who wanted to be his own man and not necessarily walk in daddy's footsteps.
And it's right, you will feel a fire, nothing's wrong with having desire, just be willing to pay what it requires.
Many artists play their music in the shadows and fade away when the light appears. But here we are with Mortimer. Besides his obvious talent, a collaboration with Protégé is credited with his fortune.
I definitely would say that song did a lot for the visibility of my career. I went to rehearsal one evening. He told me he had somebody to meet me, somebody for me to meet. And it was Protégé and Winter, James at the time. And, they were like, yo, we've been listening to the stuff you've been making in Paris and, your other music that you have come out as well. And we'd like to work with you. And from there, we developed a working relationship, and we got into the music of things, and it was fantastic, very natural, very organic kind of situation. The first time I heard it, I was like, whoa, and yeah, it was a joy and a privilege for me to sing that for sure.
Musical collaboration is often sought when trying to reach another audience. By his own admission, collaboration played a significant role in his career. But how does he feel about the coupling in general?
Collaboration is very important, I think. I have been caught in the past, with feelings of, oh, well, yeah, it's my music and I need to write it this particular way and it needs to have this particular bass line. And while all of that is good too, collaboration kind of helps you get out of yourself sometimes too, for the benefit of the music itself. It gives you a chance to see from somebody else's eyes, to hear from somebody else's ears, and to experience just another person's perspective overall. And all of that now combined together, creates a work of art that is so multi-dimensional, in thought, that you end up with a really solid product.
Given the opportunity, who would you like to collaborate with?
Bob, for sure. For sure.
It's possible that we could go vault diving, but it's also possible that opportunity won't happen. Who else?
Chronix is one. I'd love to collaborate with Burning Spear. I think he is a powerful force in reggae music.
There's a lot of talk about the state of music and who does reggae these days.
I don't subscribe to that notion that reggae music is dead or belong to anybody, but I will say though that the state of the music now it's a bittersweet situation for me, because there's good music being made. I definitely believe so, and I hear it all the time. Then there's music being made that's not so good for the brain, but in the state of responsibility and perspective, I feel like there are aspects of the music that can be better. Good music is being made, you have a lot of great artists out there that's making music that's moving the culture forward.
And we can say that Mortimer is one of them. The singer is set to release his debut album this year, and though not willing to say much about it, he was willing to let us know that the album is more of a note to himself.
Your vibe is like a gentle breeze, you make me feel all kinds of things. The things I like about you most are way beyond what eyes can see.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Join us again tomorrow for another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via X at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Audrey Williams. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.